Long before Galileo pointed his telescope to the sky, before Michelangelo carved his marble into life, there was a man who tried to understand everything, from the stars above to the thoughts inside our minds. His name was Aristotle. For more than 2,000 years, his ideas shaped how humans saw the world. He wasn't just a philosopher, he was a scientist, a logician, a teacher, and a dreamer, a man who believed that every question deserved an answer, and that knowledge itself was the highest form of happiness. Aristotle was born in 384 BC in Stagira, a small town in northern Greece. His father was a physician to the royal family, which gave young Aristotle early exposure to the study of life and nature. When he was 17, he left for Athens to study at Plato's Academy, the most famous school in the world at that time. Under Plato, Aristotle learned philosophy, mathematics, and ethics, but even then, he wasn't afraid to question his teacher. Plato believed that the world we see is just a shadow of a higher, perfect reality, the realm of forms. Aristotle disagreed. He believed truth wasn't somewhere else. It was right here, in the real world, waiting to be studied, measured, and understood. After Plato's death, Aristotle traveled widely, studying plants, animals, and human behavior. He spent years observing nature firsthand, dissecting fish, watching how insects moved, collecting data long before the word scientist even existed. When he finally returned to Athens, he founded his own school, the Lyceum. There, he taught by walking and talking with his students through shaded pathways, earning them the nickname Peripatetics, meaning those who walk around. For the next 12 years, Aristotle produced some of the most important works in human history. He wrote on logic, ethics, politics, biology, physics, metaphysics, rhetoric, and art. His range was almost impossible to imagine. In a time when most people specialized in one thing, Aristotle tried to understand everything. His writings form the foundation of Western thought. One of his most famous works is Nicomachean Ethics, named after his father or possibly his son. In it, Aristotle asks a timeless question: what is the purpose of life? His answer was not wealth, not pleasure, not fame, but eudaimonia, a Greek word meaning human flourishing or living well. He believed happiness wasn't a moment of joy, but a lifetime of virtue. It came from developing good habits, using reason, and finding the balance between extremes. Courage, for example, is the balance between cowardice and recklessness. Generosity lies between stinginess and wastefulness. For Aristotle, the good life was about balance, the golden mean. He also wrote Politics, where he explored how societies should be governed. He believed that humans are political animals, naturally drawn to form communities. He studied different systems, democracy, oligarchy, monarchy, and sought the ideal state that would allow citizens to live virtuous lives. His ideas on government would influence political thought for centuries, even shaping the foundations of democracy. In Poetics, he turned to art and storytelling. He analyzed tragedy, why humans love stories that make them cry. He introduced the idea of catharsis, the emotional release that happens when we experience art. He said a perfect tragedy teaches us something about ourselves, balancing pity and fear until we understand the deeper truth of being human. In rhetoric, Aristotle examined persuasion, how words can move people, how logic, emotion, and credibility combine to create powerful speech. His teachings still form the backbone of modern communication, debate, and even advertising. Then there was metaphysics, his attempt to explain existence itself. He explored the nature of reality, cause, and purpose. He believed everything in the universe had a reason for being, a purpose he called its final cause. To Aristotle, nothing existed by accident. Every seed wanted to become a tree. Every human wanted to reach potential. The universe itself was a chain of purpose, driven by what he called the unmoved mover, a perfect being that set everything in motion without being moved itself. Aristotle's method was revolutionary. Instead of accepting truth through faith or tradition, he observed, classified, and reasoned. He invented logic as we know it, the framework of arguments, premises, and conclusions. For over 2,000 years, his logic was considered the absolute foundation of reason. Even his mistakes, and there were many, still shaped the world. His incorrect ideas about physics and the cosmos guided scientists for centuries, till Galileo and Newton replaced them. But that's the power of Aristotle. He set the stage for everyone who came after. He taught humanity how to ask questions systematically, how to think critically, how to analyze the world. His students included one of history's most famous figures, Alexander the Great. Aristotle tutored the young Prince of Macedonia, teaching him philosophy, science, and ethics. When Alexander conquered much of the known world, he carried Aristotle's lessons with him, spreading Greek culture and knowledge across continents. When Aristotle died in 322 BC, he left behind more than 200 works, though only about 30 survive today. Yet those few changed everything. His writings became the foundation of medieval philosophy, deeply influencing Christian, Jewish, and Islamic thought. During the Renaissance, his ideas were rediscovered and blended with new science. Even today, his fingerprints are everywhere, in logic, politics, psychology, and science. Aristotle once said, "The more you know, the more you realize you don't know." That humility is what made him timeless. He didn't chase absolute answers. He chased understanding. More than 2 millennia later, his spirit still lives on every time we ask why, every time we test, observe, and reason. Aristotle gave us the blueprint for thinking, the courage to question everything, even ourselves. He taught us that wisdom doesn't come from believing you're right, but from knowing how much there is left to learn. And that's why Aristotle isn't just a name from the past. He's the voice that still whispers to humanity, think, wonder, question, always.